absolutely believe in God. Let me tell you why. True story. They say I act like my mother's son. That's what Mount Vernon was the streets that I love to run. Found myself on the wrong side of someone's gun. Breathing hard, but I made it. Damn right, I believe in God.
Every time I try to get out the game, it's like somebody keeps pulling me back in. They don't want me to leave. Can't leave rap alone, the game needs me. I try to get out this game, it ain't easy. It's what they're telling me, but I don't know because this game is full of jealousy. I can't leave rap alone, the game needs me. I try to get out this game, it ain't easy. Is what they're telling me, but I don't know because this game is full of jealousy. Rap is dead, it's too late to restore its true state. MCs are too fake because truth's the new hate. Where nobody's rhymes are potent for those whose eyes are open. Cause see the game is full of liars and these liar Cohens. Now that's an omen, that means a name sign. How they claim that they woke but sleep the same time. How they claim that they flow but they not impressive. How they claim rap evolved, they ain't no fossil records. But they push that, and so I push back and reminisce about the days when they made good rap. And the beats were fire, had to adjust the volume. Now you gotta mumble or sell a couple thousand. Yup, the game has changed, there ain't no standards. You gotta wear tight jeans and rock a man purse. But I'm killing them up in my street clothes. Second verse, watch, I'll drop the cheat code. Can't leave rap alone, the game needs me. I try to get out this game, it ain't easy. It's what they're telling me, but I don't know because this game is can't leave rap alone, the game needs me. I try to get out this game, it ain't easy. It's what they're telling me, but I don't know because this game is full of jealousy. And I don't mean to sound boastful, but when she sings, she make it sound so soulful. So I made an anthem for my corner vest. These verses ain't my single, they're just my warm-up sets. I praise Yahweh on the psaltery. I sacrifice, so don't think that you can alter me. Get a sacrifice, and I said all to me. Misunderstood, they speaking Paul to me. And switch my style from random gun lines to knowledge top with a slight sprinkle of punchlines. And I'm not ashamed, I tell them we don't care. Flow is tight like outfits that Migos wear. And you know that that isn't right. In the dark, what good is a hidden light? And the end is near, so we sent the fishes. And I speak the truth because I know the scriptures. The game needs me. I can't leave the game alone, y'all. The game needs me. They keep pulling me back in. Can't leave rap alone, the game needs me. I try to get out this game, it ain't easy. The game needs me. It really, really needs me.
Setta studio, right? Because you don't get stuff like this nowhere. This is changing. This is changing entertainment. It's changing education. This is epic. Y'all better receive Setta Studios.
When you ready for the latest breakdowns, latest news, latest presentations, there's only one place to go, and that is Setta Studios. Black man, wake up. Black woman, wake up. Setta Studio, the greatest media on the planet. We right back at you. Thank you for having me, House of Consciousness. I love you. Peace.
Check out the channel, Setta Studios. The brother's going to be bringing a lot of lectures through. You get your live lectures. You're going to get some on-point documentaries and things of that nature. So make sure that you subscribe, spread the word, let your peoples know Setta Studio is the new channel. All right? Peace.
Tune in.
Peace and Black Power, family. Let the controversy begin. It's only right that I invite my Hebrew Israelite brothers to tell their story. Now, I have a job to do, and I have viewed the video 4 to 5 times over and over again. And I have to say, who won the debate? Family. When you look at the video round 1, Brother Polite and Q, the opening round. I give that round to Brother Polite, hands down. Therefore, I said it. And I'm quite sure a lot of you, when you look at the video, you will feel the same way. Round 2, I give that round to the Hebrew Israelite brothers, 1-1, hands down. And round 3, I have to give that round to the Comedic squad. Therefore, Brother Polite and the Arm & Raw squad have won that debate, hands down. Family, you know I'm not being biased on that, because when Nasi went up against Brother General Sarasuku Seti, I kept it real. When Tazariak went up against Brother Polite, I kept it real. So now, I have a tough job to do again, and I have to go on record and let you know who won this debate. And I have to give it to the Comedic squad, hands down. Now, if my Hebrew brothers don't want to talk to me for a whole damn year because I said the Comedic side won, then you're just a sore loser. And you need to check your damn self before you wreck yourself. We are men at the end of the day. We got to be able to stand up strong. That don't take away nothing from your teaching, brother. It was just the wrong delivery that the brothers delivered, the punch. All you got to do is look at the crowd when you see the video and see who moved the crowd. What did Rakim say? How could I move the crowd? First of all, ain't no mistakes allowed. And that's what Brother Polite did in the Arm & Raw squad. They moved the crowd, family. Now, let's move forward. Check out Brother Hashar and Danyaahla. And if these brothers would have taught like that night at the debate, they would have gave the Comedic crew a run for their money. Brother Hashar was screaming at the top of his lungs at the debate, and nobody really understood him. But listen to the brother scholarship now. Check it out, family.
Yo, peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another Sarnetta TV House of Conscience production. I sit here with my brother Hashar, Danyaahla. What's your name again, my brother?
Sugar Yard.
Sugar Yard in the building. What's my man?
Mala'ak.
Sugar Yard and Mala'ak. And we're about to show y'all some powerful information. First question I have for you, brother Danyaahla, off the head. I ain't writing nothing down. How did you feel? Y'all was talking. You was talking like you was ready to dig in Polite hard, but you didn't get a chance to speak. How did that make you feel, brother? I know that had to make you feel some kind of way, especially when he put something up there on the screen and he was like going at you. I know you wanted to get at him for that.
Right. Yeah, Polite put me up on the Summer Jam screen, but I didn't feel no ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to people talking SHIT about me. That's okay, man. Just understand that he got to live to see another day. Because Polite talked about King James, and I'm here to tell you that, Polite, you don't know nothing about King James, and neither does Shaka. That's straight up and down. You brothers don't know nothing about King James. Nothing. But you guys got away, because Tom got away from us during the day of the debate. So you can thank the Most High, or thank your Egyptian gods, whoever you want to thank. You could thank your Egyptian gods that you guys got away. But the information is still going to come out. That's all I got to say about that. You want to add on to that, Hashar?
Y'all dodged the bullet. Dodged the bullet.
Listen, let me say one more thing, man. You know, Shaka, approached me in the audience, man. Excuse me, when I was downstairs. Shaka approached me in the audience when I was downstairs, going to get some water for my wife. He approached me and asked me how bad it was going to be. Well, it was going to be pretty bad. You about to see that. It was going to be pretty bad for you. Remember, when you came into the building, I showed you one of the books that you use as a source. I have it. And you didn't use it properly. I'm going to show you that tonight. So you dodged a big-time bullet. You my brother. You showed me mad love. You showed me mad respect. You spoke about me in great superlatives. So I have nothing against you, but I do have something against the information that you presented in your presentation about King James. So I'm going to show you that tonight.
You said he dodged a bullet.
Bullet. Yeah, damn it, he dodged a missile, man.
You said Shaka Utmost dodged a bullet. Now, I'm quite sure you seen the presentation he did on King James.
It was garbage.
Nobody came out and answered that yet. We still waiting on the answer. Brother Hashar, the family out there is saying you have entered into a new ring. When you deal with the debate circuit, they say you good on your post. When you out there teaching on the street, you got to stay in your lane. They say you ain't ready for the debate circuit. You wilded out on the people, man. Talk to the people.
Well, as always, the debate circuit in the street, whatever, I'm always on beast mode. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm in there for war, that's my mindset. So as I went in there, you know what I'm saying, me and my clan was like ready for war. We was ready to touch gloves, touch knuckles, and all that good stuff. So anybody speaking otherwise and didn't look at the information, then you lost in your own belief system, whether you a Hebrew Israelite, a damn Kemite, a Jebusite, a Hittite, I don't give a goddamn. If you didn't see the information in itself and what was presented, then your mind wasn't focused on the true premise. So we went in there basically for war. It's like you can't go out there in the streets, scream on police, scream on the white man, blah, 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 and you're not being war mode. So we went in there, our objective was war. So as far as that presenting information, I mean, it really wasn't nothing. And I understand the people, if you got a weak heart and a weak mind, you know what I'm saying, and you look at me, you look at a warrior, you know what I'm saying, you took me out the Coliseum. I'm an old gladiator, you know what I'm saying? So if you took this gladiator out the Coliseum and tried to put me in some prancy stuff, you're going to see, oh my God, it wasn't for that. But in the same token, check out the information, and I'm going to give you the same information and a little bit more, and you're going to see what we presented, which wasn't answered or touched. You see what I'm saying? So as far as that, that's nothing, man, you know, and I enjoyed the debate. I enjoyed everything, and I went up in the balcony, you know what I'm saying, still being a warrior, and I was in the balcony checking everything out. So when Polite pulled out that the airplane joint and all that, I was like, oh, you know, and then I said, wait a minute, that nigga ain't on my team, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Because then I thought about it, I said, wait a minute, we got stuff to smash that. Because y'all gonna see tonight, I mean, even we got when GOCC was in Egypt with the pyramids. I mean, we got brothers, I mean, we was out there. You got other brothers from back in the days that was out there and in Israel, whatever. So I just pulled up one of the family members, you know what I'm saying, that live out there in Dimona, and pulled them up to see that, look, y'all visiting, but we live there. And that's the thing y'all got to remember. Y'all just visitors, but we live there. It's not in Dimona. It's on the other side. It's not even there. Every place that you could think of, even in Nigeria. We even had an Israelite brother in the crowd, which y'all miss, the brother by the name of Ifini. Okay, he was in the crowd, and he's an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite brother. And we're going to call him up and show you he was what you would call an Igbo. And so we're going to smash it and shut it down on that level. You know what I'm saying? So it's like... That's any arena is my arena. Any arena is all our brothers' arena, because when we in the street, we debate on the fly. So debating in there, whatever, it's just that if you're a pussycat, you can't handle a lion. So if I roared too much, I understand and I respect you humbly. If I was whatever, I respect you all humbly, your opinion and your thought process, but you got to evaluate. You call me in for war, I'm ready for war. To tear the walls down and everything else down in my hindsight, and that's it. So with that, man, I'm going to pass it on to the brother.
But see, that's all I know you as. When I first met you, that's all you was a lion, man. Anything other than that, I'm like, nah, that ain't the Hashar I know. That's not the brother I know. So let me ask you, brother, all of y'all brothers, have there ever been a time when y'all felt the pressure of the Armor Raw squad, of Brother Polite? Have there ever been a time, Brother Danyaahla?
We don't feel no pressure, man. We feel we under pressure every time we go out in the streets, man. You have people coming up to us, like you said, on the fly, asking us all types of questions. So a lot of things that are brought out by the Amun Ra squad, a lot of things that are brought out by Polite, I know that these brothers think in their mind that they're the first ones to ask us these questions. We get asked these questions all the time. So we answer these questions all the time. Like my man Shaka. I'm going to mess with Shaka tonight. That's my brother. And like I said, I'm going to say again, when he seen me, he said a lot of nice things about me. And I say a lot of nice things about that brother. But that brother brought the Hezekiah prism to me. Now, maybe in his mind, he thinks he's the first person to ever bring the Hezekiah prism to the Israelites. But I got bad news for you. That's been brought to us before. We didn't answer you that night because that night it was Kemet on trial. It was your book on trial. But if you think we don't have the answer about the Hezekiah prism, you are highly mistaken. If you think we don't have the answer for that presentation that you made about King James, you are highly mistaken. Because me personally, I'm going to deal with all the references you used, and I'm going to bring out references you did not use. And I told you that to your face. You see what I'm saying? Because that's the way I roll. You talking about you a beast. You talking about when we talk about King James in the Bible, that's your arena. That's my arena too, brother. History is my arena. Ask about me in the Israelite community. History is my arena. So I'm ready for war when it comes to that. You about to see that tonight. And you only getting 20 slides. I got 100 slides on King James. You getting 20. And my 20 slides is going to trump the whatever slides that you showed. That's a fact.
Yeah, I just answer as far as the pressure situation. I mean, like I said, the most pressure that me personally that I ever felt is from Israelites. As far as you gotta calm down and all this other stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? As far as what they presented, I mean that's everyday cakewalk stuff. You know what I mean? Is we did this, we did that. I didn't see no pressure. Right. I mean, I ain't see. Like I said, I was grooving in the balcony when that cat took the Egypt trip. He said, "Yo, this my wife, this my man." I was pop locking for a minute. Oh, then I caught myself. And other than that, I mean, it really wasn't nothing to make you flex on. You know what I'm saying? And like what the people missed out on was a curator, a literal museum curator, okay, in the crowd that wanted to speak, okay, and bring out certain points about Egypt. All right. You also had, like I said, brothers from Israel. You had brothers from Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? The Israelite brothers. So it's like y'all missed out on a lot as far as what would have put pressure on them and what they believe and what they deal with. Case in point, Jonathan, my man, salute, whatever. But you're Magi, right? According to the Magi situation, it's like I could ask you this, and this is what the brothers was going to present to you that deals with that culture. And also the brother from Cameroon, let me shout you out. Magi's, they have to put a scar on their face, okay? If you call yourself a Magi, you have to have a scar on your face. It's based upon one or two things. One of the things is wrestling a lion and killing a lion. So you can't call yourself a Magi if you don't have that. Now, that's according to a Hamite, an African custom. You know what I'm saying? So we had a brother ready to present that to you that's from that culture. That's number one. So that kills that. We also had other things as far as, like I said, the Igbo situation, as far as the Heru lock or whatever. So brothers don't know what they missed out on, and even sisters. So as far as pressure, I mean, like I said, it wasn't no real pressure. It was just pressure from Israel talking about, oh, y'all calm down, you wildin', all this other nonsense, and things of that nature. But other than that, no pressure from the other side. I just enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed what they presented too. You know what I'm saying? It was good. All right.
How can you, as Hebrew Israelites, let Brother Polite get away with the star? How you let him get away with that without y'all touching that topic? Hold on. You was supposed to touch that topic right there. He broke down the 6-pointer star, and y'all didn't deal with that. You let him get away with that, man. I mean, first of all, I want you to go in and break down the 6-pointer star, and then talk to us about how you let him get away with that.
That's simple. We have future presentations on the 6-pointer star, but I want to say this, right? We made it clear. I made it clear. Hashar made it clear. Gabar made it clear. Nasi made it clear. Zion Lex made it clear. Brother Divine Prospect made it clear. Kemet was on trial. That was clear. So we understood and we knew that you guys were going to come with things other than Kemet being on trial. You were going to try to put us on trial. You were going to try to ask us questions to try to sway the audience. And those with the weak minds, they were swayed because you took them off topic. But the topic was Kemet on trial. So I didn't give a damn about you asking me about the Star of David. I didn't give a damn about you asking me about King James. I'm confident. I am confident in my knowledge. That's clear. If you don't know that, you're going to find that out about Brother Danyaahla. I'm confident in my knowledge. I could break down the shit on the summer jam screen, and I laughed at you. And I was walking around during the break laughing at you, talking about you fired shots, and I ain't have no goddamn blood on me, man. That's easy work. But Kemet was on trial. And the brother Gabar sat right here in the seat and made it very clear. He didn't give a damn if you put King James up in a goddamn dress. He wasn't going to leave the fact that he was dealing with Shaka's book. So that brother Shaka put up the Hezekiah prism. And guess what Gabar did? He stuck with the book like he said he was going to do. Doesn't mean that we can't deal with everything else. We're going to deal with everything else. I have a lecture about the Star of David coming up. I have lectures about King James not being a homosexual coming up. And I ain't talking about what I'm about to show tonight. I got lectures about King James being a black man that I'm about to show in the future. No questions about it. I'm not running from nothing I said. I got a lecture and I got scriptures that show the Most High puts his spirit on animals. How about that? Because everybody gets mad about what I said. Oh, that Brother Danyaahla said the Most High put his spirits on animals. Why don't you read 2 Kings, the 17th chapter? Why don't you read that from verses 24 on down? Read about how the Most High put his spirit on the animals to tear them heathens up that was in our land that didn't belong there. When you read 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, don't play with me, man. We study. The Bible says study to show yourself approved. You stand next to a man that's been in Israel 23 years. I study. I'm ready for war. Understand? Go ahead, brother.
That's what's up. And to touch on the animal situation, and to go back to the shield, but I'm going to touch on the animal situation. It's like a lot of brothers fail to realize, it's like when you look at it, it's the same thing, like why animals in the zoo ain't killing each other.
Right.
They separate in cages, whatever. That's one point. Another point, when you brothers that deal with a Kemetic system, or you deal with any, as we call Hamite, but if you call it African theology or any understanding of Africa, remember, when you deal with voodoo, and Vodun and so forth and so on, they put spirits and they cast spirits into the animals to do certain things. So you have to question that within itself if you're going to speak against what the king said. So it's a lot of things that when you see people, they just come off the mind like, he said something stupid. So it's like, then you go against your own African culture. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is. And,
listen, we got videos, man. I'm Salaki. I don't mean to cut you off, man. Listen, man, any of you brothers that think I don't know what I'm talking about, come to my camp, man. We on 149th and 3rd Avenue every goddamn Saturday, man. If you think that I don't know what I'm talking about, come to the camp. We're going to film you, and we're going to see who know what they're talking about and who don't. If I say something, I know what the hell I'm talking about, all right? Get that through your thick skulls. I know what the hell I'm talking about. I study thoroughly, completely. Everything. I study the Israelite doctrine. I study the 5% doctrine. I study the African doctrine. I study Egyptology. I study everything. And I'm ready for any question if it be the spirit of the Most High in Christ. Just so you understand. Go ahead, brother.
yeah, since he said the 5%, shout out to my man God Cypher Divine. What's up, King? And his son. But look, and my man Rakim Allah, you know what I'm saying, the 18th letter, that's my people, you know what I'm saying, so what's up to you? They don't know how far back, we go, you know what I'm saying, in our roots, you know what I'm saying, even the Woo, what's up, Ghost, everybody, you know what I'm saying, they don't know what time it is.
I was a 5%. I told y'all that in the interview that I did with Sonetta, I was a 5%er. I started up, that's where I started, that was my foundation, man, because back in the 90s, I'm giving my age away now, but I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I graduated from high school in 1992, man. We talk about the era of brand Nubians. We talk about the era of poor righteous teachers. We talk about the era of Eric being Rakim and Big Daddy Kane. These were 5%ers, man. I studied the 5% doctrine before I became an Israelite. I know the 12 jewels: knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothes, and shelter, love, peace, and happiness. Y'all know who y'all dealing with, man. I didn't start off as a Hebrew Israelite. This is a school of knowledge that I came to after going through many other schools. I went through the 5% school. I went through the Nation of Islam. I studied the books of Dr. York from the time when he was an Ansar all the way to the time when he was a Nubian Islamic Hebrew. I'm not new to this. Y'all are new to this. But I'm not new to this. You see? Go ahead. Go ahead, Sonetta.
Do you feel the Hebrews won the debate?
Yes, we did.
Let's keep it real.
Yes, we did.
I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down.
Yes,
Do you feel the Hebrews won, and why you feel that way?
I'm going to tell you why the Hebrews won. This is simple, man, and this is objective. So I want everybody to understand that what I'm saying is objective, even if you feel like it's not objective. You see what I'm saying? Everybody wants to talk about law. Like we Hebrews don't study law. We Hebrews study look. We Hebrews study everything. When you dealing with me, I study everything. Y'all study law too. There's something in law called acquiescence or acquiesce. What does that mean? The word acquiesce means silent agreement. Meaning if you are silent to something, that's the same as agreeing with it. Okay? These brothers, Hashar and Nasi, when they made their presentations, they presented at least 30 slides, which is 30 accusations. At most, Polite, Jonathan, Ankh, Shaka, whoever you want to pull, you guys rebutted about 4 accusations out of 30, which means you are silent on 26. 26. 26 allegations, you silent on them. That's in law called acquiescence. That means by your silence, you agree that we right that you guys were a bunch of homosexuals. That means that you agree that we right that you guys were immoral. You guys were a bunch of guys that were sleeping with your damn sisters. You were committing incest and all that. You agree. You know why? Because you didn't address the slides. And Jonathan himself made a statement on Facebook, which I have, which said that he had something dealing with the incest, but he didn't present it. If you didn't present it, you lose. Period. I don't care what you say. So you lost that debate. That's not my emotion speaking. That's a fact. Because if it was reversed, if the Egyptian side was to have presented 30 slides and the Hebrews only answered 4 of them, would you guys be saying that we won the debate? Would you be saying we won the debate? And then with the 4 slides that you addressed, how good was your response? Here it is, my brother Nasi presented a slide that spoke about mitochondrial DNA. It was a scientific slide, because you know the chemist side is always like science, 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 science. You guys are always dealing with science, right? Well, Nasi presented a slide that showed that there were studies about mitochondrial DNA that was done that showed that the pharaohs were sleeping with their sisters. And Polite got up there and talked about some adoption. I'm sorry? And their daughters. And then Polite got up there and showed some stuff about adopting and how they were calling each other brother and sister, but they were married, some garbage, but you didn't address the science. So which means you lose. So of the 4 accusations you did address, your response was garbage. Now, as far as my brother Jonathan, big up to that brother, big up to the brother Casual. But I have to ask a question. With that wonderful presentation that you made, that you spent a whole lot of time putting together on a website, it was real cohesive, it was nice. I liked it myself. But the question I would ask you was, did your presentation match up with the stellas and the text that we pulled? In other words, if I say I copulated in the behind of another man, and you pull up something about how sperm is produced in the spine, is that the same? Is that the same as me pulling out a stela that says that one man copulated another man's behind? Is that what we do? Is that scholarship nowadays? Is that what we talking about? And the crowd was like, oh, it was great. But I was standing there like, nigga, you didn't answer the goddamn question. That's what I was saying, straight up and down. And I keep it real. I don't know how much of this son they're gonna cut out, but I keep it real. I keep it goddamn real, man. You didn't answer the goddamn question. So out of the 4, out of 30, out of the 4 accusations that you did answer, we have problems with 2 of them. Polite didn't answer the science, and Jonathan's presentation didn't answer the text. But you won the debate. Really? Go ahead, brother. Get that.
And you know what's so crazy about it? It's like, to horseback ride off my king, deal with piggyback riding, because, swine is against the law of the Most High. Right. So it's like, check this out. Technically, they only attempted to answer 2 things. And that was Jonathan, and salute to the brother. You know what I'm saying? Because he said one thing, he said, oh, yo, Hashar, as I said, wait a minute. The cat you talk about, the Nasi pulled up, the cat had 30 sources. Did you touch his 30 sources? So what he told me was this. He said, I'm going to address that in my book. I said, yeah, all right, okay, cool. So I saluted that. And then he said, wait a minute. Do you expect, these crackers? Or he said, well, you will take it from a brother. So I stood back because, I'm a cracker killer all day. You know what I'm saying? So when he said that, I said, okay, salute. I backed off on that. But I said, okay, wait a minute. Semen and, the spine and Kundalini energy and all of this, like I said, and shout out to the Black Lotus civilization. You know what I'm saying? These cats, Hamite cats, other cats, whatever. And they got information, and speak the metal netta like brothers speak and read English. And they said the brother was way off. And that's what they wanted to crush and chump. You know what I'm saying? And it's this thing, when he speaks about that, remember when it says to copulate, Kundalini is something that you resonate as an individual within yourself. Now, if anybody outside of you has to trigger Kundalini, that means that they have to trigger inside of your body. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they have to do something with inside of you. So when that symbol is penis, I hope the brother was just going off the fly, and I respect and hope that he was. Or if he knows this information, he's not telling y'all the true information. It's dealing with a homosexual act. This is straight up. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go up another man's rectum, what happens is the penis, it massages the prostate gland. And as it massages the prostate gland, it activates the Kundalini energy to go straight up from the spine into the cerebral cortex to hit the brain and comes back down. You understand? So if that is the case, that still is dealing with homosexuality. That's number one. Number two, if you have a symbol and using the symbol, the penis as a symbol of poison, that's telling you that it's something wrong. That's why when we brought out the condom sheath about disease, it's telling you that they dealt in diseases. Okay, that the semen, the semen when the penis, so forth, there's something wrong with it. So I salute the brother in his knowledge. I salute him in his quest, but he has to get a greater understanding in what he's dealing with in Egypt. It's nothing negative, but it's all positive about the learning. And we're not attacking it on that level, because when it comes to the goal, we'll wear it. When it comes to the pyramids, that was awesome. But y'all got to go ahead and deal with what the brother Nasi brought out about what's in the book of Numbers, the 2nd chapter, and how the pyramids was developed according to the 12 tribes in the numerology. But a lot of people don't realize that. But it is what it is now. So if you're asking, did we win the debate? Now, if they told us to bring peer reviews, they told us to bring our sources. Listen, we had everything was peer reviewed. Everything dealt with sources. Not one thing did not deal with a source. We had professors, curators, everything deal with us. So now the information that we put up, now, yeah, I know I was acting like a gorilla in my silverback mode. It's all good. And then Nasi bought what he bought. But nothing was touched according to what was brought out. The cannibalism. You got to think about this. The incest. You got to think about this. Okay? Semen as flavoring. I mean, goddamn. I thought sugar was flavoring to things. But you're talking about semen? But yet this is a cultivation. Come on now. So when you get to the Hebrew Israelites, you'll see that a lot of things that we use, our law was codified based upon the negative things that was done in our captivity. It's real simple. So, I mean, this was never touched. So when it was touched, it was only touched briefly and small. And trust and believe. Don't let them fool you. Salute to the Amin Ra squad. Why? Because we making you study. Y'all studying them. Y'all studying, saying, what is this? Where did that come from? You're supposed to study that, because we teaching you about that culture on another level. We not knocking it as far as little things that they did, but that bullshit that they did, you got to, yeah, family, I know, that nigga cursing again. But y'all, yeah, whatever. But y'all got to look at this and say, wait a minute, whoa, we got to step back. It's just like America. It's just like your cell phone. The cell phone is a beautiful thing, because you can get in contact with people on a mobile level that you never did before. But in the same token, it destroys your brain cells. The same token, you can get brain cancer and all these things if you don't deal with the cell phone correctly. So when you look at Egypt, it had things that was good, but it had also pros and cons. When you look at the cons, that homosexuality and all that, that was nonsense, man. So you got to review it from that perspective. So it was presented to you in a speed round, and y'all took it another way. But the stuff we had, y'all would have had to submit unto the supreme power, the Most High. While y'all was shy, y'all would have to submit and say, wait a minute, these brothers is showing us something. So now, if to answer the question, with that information and that added on that the king said and I said, did we win? According to information, of course, all day long. Now, if you got a numbnut mind, I don't care if you're an Israelite, I don't care if you're, like I said, any other Kemite, whatever, say, yo, gang, he killed it with the airplane. I salute Polite for that. That was fly. Polite knew it was fly, because Polite know when he teaching dummies. Right. He know that. Right. And I salute him. He know I'm teaching dummies. Right. So let me just show dummies what they like. Right. And there's no disrespect to anybody, but he recognized the game, and he did say, I'm good at this. So he recognized that, and he was damn sure was good. We coming in with information, and you see this right here, and he said, man, fuck the bullshit, boom. And he said, and he took a trip, and y'all went nuts over that. And we got clips where brothers was dead, all that. So, but y'all went nuts, and I salute, and I bow down to that in respect that he understood the game and who was being taught at the moment. Because what Sinetta built was an arena, when you understand, is to get information out and entertain you at the same time. Right. So when you look at this vibration, it's actually more of a sports arena vibration. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong. Because that's our people is into sports, so bringing you out of sports into education. So this arena that he built, we have to build a sports-like atmosphere. So that's what you saw. So now if you take it to a regular mundane educational atmosphere, there'll be a difference. Let's do the two. If that was an educational atmosphere, you think Polite would have got over with that? They would say, I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with coming on trial. That's right. They would have destroyed it. No, no boy. So we understand the atmosphere. So according to the atmosphere and the arena that we walked in, I salute. You know what I'm saying? He did a good job on that. But from what we brung, we won. But according to the atmosphere, I give the brother 2 thumbs up, and I'm coming after you, boy. Coming after you.
Let me say this. I got to come back right behind the brother Hashar, and I got to reiterate, just to reiterate why we saying we won. We won because there were 30 accusations at most. There might have been more slides presented than 30, but we're just going to rock with the number 30.
Absolutely.
There were 30 slides presented, and there were 4 responses. That means that you left 26 on the table. That's acquiescence. So by the law of acquiescence, you guys lose. That's not my emotion speaking. That's not me speaking just because I'm a Hebrew.
Israelite pride.
Hey, you just say Israelite. You're just saying that. No, brother. You left
You had to adjust the volume. Now
Y'all just hold on 1 second. A little technical difficulty. It's all right. We're going to bring it right back. We're going to bring it right back. If y'all are enjoying this, if you guys have never seen this before, then make sure you guys put 1 in the chat. Let me know you guys are enjoying this. Let me know. We're going to bring it right back. All right. Put 1 in the chat. Let me know if you guys are enjoying this. All right. Some of you guys have never seen this before. So I'm running it back. I'm showing you guys how it goes down. This is how Operation Sub-Zero got started, right? This is we digging in the crates. Every now and then on a Sunday, I'm going to bring you guys back some classic videos.
Side Studio, right?
So,
because you don't get stuff like this nowhere. This is changing. This is changing.
All right, so we're going to come back to where we were. We were about 31 minutes in. Right, we're about 31 minutes in. Yep, right about here. So we're going to pick it up from where we left off. All praise to the Most High. All right, if you guys haven't shared this on y'all platforms, make sure you guys share this. This is how me and Hashar got it started. We shut down the whole goddamn Kemetic community, bro. They wasn't ready for the energy. They wasn't. And they still not. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just saying. Yeah. Nevertheless, we're going to continue from here. Let's go.
Vibration. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong, because that's our people is into sports, so bringing you out of sports into education. So this arena that he built, we have to build a sports-like atmosphere. So that's what you saw. So now if you take it to a regular mundane educational atmosphere, there'll be a difference. Let's do the 2. If that was an educational atmosphere, you think Polite would have got over with that? They would say, I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with coming on trial. They would have destroyed it. No, boy. So we understand the atmosphere. So according to the atmosphere and the arena that we walked in, I salute. You know what I'm saying? He did a good job on that. But from what we brung, we won. But according to the atmosphere, I give the brother 2 thumbs up, and I'm coming after you, boy. Coming after you.
Let me say this. I got to come back right behind the brother Hashar, and I got to reiterate, just to reiterate why we saying we won. We won because there were 30 accusations at most. There might have been more slides presented than 30, but we're just going to rock with the number 30.
Absolutely.
There were 30 slides presented, and there were 4 responses. That means that you left 26 on the table. That's acquiescence. So by the law of acquiescence, you guys lose. That's not my emotion speaking. That's not me speaking just because I'm a Hebrew.
Israelite pride.
Hey, you just say Israelite. You're just saying that. No, brother. You left 26 accusations on the table. Now, if the shoe were on the other foot, the question would be, would people say that we won the debate if we left 26 accusations on the table?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And let me say one last thing. This is to the Amin Ra squad, specifically to my brother Asar Imhotep, because I just watched the video that my brother Sarnetta posted, right? I don't know where you get your information from, so let me be clear. Go back and watch my interview before the debate. Go watch the brother Hashar's interview before the debate. Right. Go watch the brother Nasir's interview before the debate. Since when did we say that we agreed that the Bible was going to be put on trial? Because that's what you guys did. Shaka tried that. Polite tried that. Ankh tried that. You guys try to put stuff up there about the Bible. The Bible was never supposed to be on trial. We ain't running from the Bible being on trial because you guys always have questions about the Bible. And that presentation that you made on Lot was garbage. Because the Hebrew faith, when you read the Bible, it goes by the lineage of the father. So you talking about Ruth, that was a red herring. That had nothing to do with the topic because the lineage of a Hebrew goes back through his father. So the Most High is not dealing with Ruth. Absolutely. Not at all. So that was garbage. I just want you to know that. I'm telling you that to your face. That was garbage. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk about King James because Shaka did a garbage presentation on that. So I'm gonna give him 20 slides out of 100. I got 100 slides, man. I got 100 slides on King James and another 100 on him being black. How about that? That's what I'm here for. But I just wanted to put that out on the table. You guys could not possibly have won a debate where you address 4 accusations. It ain't our fault that the time ran out. So we don't want to hear that. Now I'm seeing you guys going back and doing, putting up your notes on side of this channel about you put notes in debate and trying to answer questions afterwards. How the hell you win a debate and you answering questions after the goddamn debate? Man, get the hell out of here with that.
Right. And when you check that vibe, it's like on the real, if you came to an Israelite and asked an Israelite a question about anything, we gonna hit you on the fly right there. I'll pass this,
man. They lucky. Listen. I'm sorry, brother. I apologize, man. I hope Sana don't cut this out, man. You guys are lucky I didn't speak. There's a reason why I'm on this team. You guys are lucky I goddamn didn't speak, man. Everybody in the goddamn hall was coming to me saying, "Why didn't you speak?" You lucky I didn't speak. Lucky. Go ahead, man.
And I passed on the mic just so y'all know that. I passed on the mic because because my thing is this. I know when a brother, throws shots at people, the brother want to respond. So I passed on the mic, but it was certain things going on or whatever. And listen, man, we not sore losers at all. And we did not lose. Nope. But I do give credit where credit is due. That move that he did, it was fly for a numbnut nigga. That was fly. A numbnut nigga go, holy shit. And you got to think about it. Hey. When I see was hitting all them things, boom, cannibalism, boom. I hit all of the blood and sucking the semen, all boom. So, Kemet was like this, some bullshit, man. So when Polite came, he was your savior at that moment. It was like a sigh of relief, like, oh, the nigga was the Egypt, he killed y'all. So we got to salute that. That was a good move. And we still commend that to this moment. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the when you go ahead and analyze everything, and we're going to bring this out, because the brothers told me go over it slowly, whatever, so you could see, and you got a question for yourself, and question to say, is this a part of my people, part of my culture? Now, remember, everything is peer reviewed. Everything. Not one thing was on our own merit. Say, look at this, boom. It was peer reviewed. So, and the papyruses, you name it. So you got to go through this very slowly, and you absorb it as a rational thinker. And say, is this part of my people or what? We got good sides and bad sides. So, again, to answer this question home and hard, we did win as far as information. That's a question, but the brother won as far as, sensationalism. You know what I'm saying? So it is what, but I think we came back pretty good with showing that we had somebody that lived in Israel and you niggas just visited. We got communities all over. So with that, y'all got to respect that. We got communities all over in the 4 corners, man. It's not no joke when it comes to the Hebrew Israelite thing. When you go in the courtrooms, they ain't doing no Kemetic. I'm Kemetic, this, that, I'm this, that. This Hebrew Israelite. Why? Because remember, this court of law stands under the Mosaic law. So when they go ahead and say, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth yourself? You got something? No, we don't swear. Why you don't swear? Because the scripture say we don't. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. Who are you? I'm a priest. So when it says a priest is what? That's against this whole system. That goes above anything that you got. A lawyer, a judge, or whatever. So y'all got to understand on a different level, a different vibration. But I'm going to pass it to my king because he's on fire. That he get a chance to speak. He's on fire that they was coming at him. And we passed the mic. And I'm telling y'all, wake the hell up, man. That's all of y'all. Egyptians, whoever. And you Hebrew Israelites said, man, they did a good job. If that's the case, y'all agree with semen for flavoring. And I'm speaking to my Hebrew Israelite family. All right? Talk to me. Holla. You know what corner I am. Go ahead.
Right. I got a question, Polite. This is just me and you talking now. I know a lot of people are watching, but I'm having a one-on-one conversation with you. I want to see the rest of the pictures, right? I saw the picture inside the pyramid. Now I want to see the rest of the pictures you took in Egypt. How about some pictures outside the pyramid? Outside. How about a picture that you took at the Sphinx? Convince me.
In the community.
Yeah, convince me. Yeah, let's show me some pictures in Egypt besides the one inside the pyramid. Convince me that you really went.
Right.
And that wasn't some bullshit that you put up there to convince the people. Convince me. Convince me. I want Setta to put this video up. Convince me that you really went to Egypt and you wasn't inside a mock pyramid at all. How about that? Put me on the spot. Convince me that you went to Egypt. We want to see the rest of the videos. We want to see outside the pyramid. We want to see all over Egypt, all over Cairo. I want to see you at the Sphinx. I want to see you everywhere. Because everybody else that go to Egypt, they got pictures outside the pyramid. They got pictures inside the pyramid. They got pictures at the Sphinx. They got everything. We saw the outside of a goddamn plane. We even see the nigga on the plane. We saw the brother outside. We saw the outside of the damn plane. All we saw is the wing. We saw the wing of the plane. That's it. Next thing you know, after we see the wing of the plane, the brother's inside the goddamn pyramid. What about the rest of the goddamn pictures, man? Go ahead, Setta, man.
All right, let me help you out here.
Help me out with that, Setta.
You probably wasn't looking, but him and his wife was standing on the pyramid. Right there. They were standing there. You know, and matter of fact, there's a video up that I just threw up that he sent me, and he's right there with the Sphinx. By the Sphinx, him and his wife is standing on the pyramid. No, I just threw it up. It's on my channel. I just threw it up about maybe 2 hours ago.
We didn't see that.
Right. No.
Let's go.
Let me see.
Go ahead, man.
All right, what we're going to do is take it to the screen. We want to show some powerful information here.
Now, I want to make it clear that I have 100 slides on this King James thing. You know, about a week ago, I don't know how many of you brothers actually saw the video with my brother Shaka Amos when he was sitting here and he was bragging about what a great job he did breaking down King James being a homosexual. He bragged about what a great job he did. If any of you brothers was watching that live stream, I called in and I asked Shaka Amos certain questions about his presentation. Now I'm about to go into a PowerPoint presentation where I'm going to present information that my brother Shaka didn't present. And this is not a personal attack against the brother, but I'm against biased scholarship. And what I find in the black community amongst black scholars is there's a lot of biased scholarship. Scholarship that's presented that is one-sided, that when you actually do real studies, you find out there's a whole other side to the argument that these men are not making. It's easy to pull up all the information saying King James was a homosexual. But what about the information that says he was not? What about that? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to present to you, brothers and sisters, about 17 slides out of 100 that I have. We're going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation in the future where I'm going to present all 100 slides, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that King James is not a homosexual. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm going to be presenting information that's never been presented to you before. I'm also going to present information to you to prove that King James is a black man, because Shaka touched on that. But he said that King James was a dark-skinned white man. That is pseudo information. But I ain't dealing with that right now. I'm dealing with the homosexual vibe. Whenever you're ready, man, put the first slide up on the screen. All right, this is from a book called The Basilicon Doron. And I find it funny that my brother Shaka did not present this. And when I called in, I asked Shaka, why did you not present the Basilicon Doron? For you brothers and sisters that don't know what the Basilicon Doron is, the Basilicon Doron is instructions that King James left behind for his heirs, those that would rule after him, about what they should do when they rule. This is called a primary source, not a secondary source, not a third tier source, but a primary source. Okay? This is from the Basilicon Doron, page 46. It says, they quarreled against me, talking about his enemies, not for anything or vice in me. Okay, hold on a second, because I can't really see it.
You can't see?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Get on the opposite side. Hey, give him that pointer, too. Give him the pointer.
Okay, let me stand on this side.
Yeah, give me that. Let me show him.
Okay, I got it right here. I'm standing on this side. This is better. This is
middle, and you can see where the people
right. Okay. This is the Basilicon Doron, page 46. This is what Shaka did not show you. Now, if you are a scholar and you're presenting unbiased scholarship, now when I called in, if brothers and sisters that was watching the show, I called in, and Shaka made a statement before I called in, and then when I called in, he would not validate what it is he said. I asked Shaka. Shaka said he presented all, A-L-L, all the information on King James. When I called in, I asked Shaka, did you present all the information? You know what he told me? He presented all the information that he has. That's nice. Well, now I want you brothers and sisters to take a notepad and a pen out, and I want you to pay attention because this is information he did not present, and this is stuff he does not have. This is from the Basilicon Doron, King James's instructions to his sons on how to rule. Page 46. It says, they quarreled against me, not for any evil or vice in me, but because I was king. That's why people spoke against him, because he was king. But because I was king, which they thought the highest of evil, and because they were ashamed to profess this quarrel, they were busy to look narrowly in all my actions. So anything the king did, somebody always had something to say. And I warrant you a mote in my eye, yes, a false report was matter enough to work upon. Meaning when people made false reports, everybody ran along with that false information. Next slide.
You got it in your hand.
Here, take it in Malak. You take care of that. Next slide. Go to the next one. Page 23 of the same book, Basilicon Doron. This is a primary source. Instructions to be merciful with some exceptions. So King James instructed his son that ruled after him to be merciful, but there were certain exceptions where he told his sons not to be merciful on certain things. Let's read what it says. But as this severe justice of yours upon all offenses would be but for a time, as I have already said, so is there certain horrible crimes that you are bound in conscience never to forgive, such as witchcraft, willful murder, incest, especially the degrees of consanguinity, and sodomy. So King James instructed his sons never to forgive somebody that was a sodomite. My question to you brothers and sisters at home, did Shaka present this in his presentation? He said he presented all the information. Go back and watch his video. Did Shaka present this information where King James spoke against being a sodomite? The answer is no. Poisoning and false coin. So he instructed his son never to forgive somebody that was a sodomite. What is a sodomite? Somebody that's a faggot. He told his son never to forgive that. Why was this not presented in Shaka's presentation? Next slide. His instructions to his son on the proper attire for a king. Page 84, the Basilicon Doron. And by the way, what you see right there, you can buy at Barnes & Nobles. This is a primary source. This is the writings of the king himself. This is him speaking. Not somebody speaking on his behalf, but the king speaking. Page 84. He told his son, but especially eschew. The word eschew means to avoid. He told his son, but especially to eschew, meaning avoid, to be effeminate. Wait a minute. Why didn't Shaka present this? He told his son to avoid being effeminate in his clothes, meaning don't dress like a faggot. First, he told his son, don't forgive somebody that is a faggot. Now he's telling his son, you ain't even supposed to dress like a faggot. In your clothes. Don't be effeminate in your clothes. Or your perfuming, meaning don't smell like a faggot. This is somebody that was supposed to be a homosexual, but he's writing this to his son, really? Why was this not presented? Preening or such like. Next slide. Now his instructions on the proper language that a king should use. Page 86. In your language, be plain, honest, natural, comely, clean, and short. Eschew both the extremities as well as not using rustical corrupt lead as book language and pen and inkhorn terms, and least of all mignard and effeminate terms. Let's review. He told his son not to forgive somebody that was a practicing sodomite or homosexual. Then he went along and told his son not to. So you have 3 points. You shouldn't act like a faggot. You shouldn't dress like a faggot. And you shouldn't talk like a faggot or smell like a faggot. My question is, why didn't Shaka present this? But I thought y'all said Shaka presented all the information. That's what he said. That's why when I called in, he was a little stuck on stupid. That's my brother, but he was stuck on stupid. Next slide. Now, names that you will never hear mentioned by people that speak about King James being a homosexual. Let's go. You have a man by the name of Peter Heinlein. Who is Peter Heinlein? Peter Heinlein was a contemporary of King James. He lived during the time of King James. This dude said that the king wasn't a faggot. How come Shaka didn't present that? Sir William Sanderson, another contemporary of the king, who said the king was not a homosexual. Why didn't Shaka present that? You have Bishop Godfrey Goodman, another contemporary who lived during the time of King James, that said the accusations were false. Why didn't Shaka present that? Then you have Sir Anthony A. Wood. Listen, brothers and sisters, I'm giving y'all sources. Please go and check this out. You have Sir Anthony A. Wood, who also was a contemporary of King James, that said the man wasn't homosexual. You will never hear somebody that teaches that King James is homosexual mention any of these names. And finally, you have King James himself, who we just read in the Basilicon Doron, who spoke against homosexuality. And notice, like the title says, names never mentioned. Notice our brother, Shaka Amos, never mentioned King James in the Basilicon Doron. I ask you, brothers and sisters, why is that?
Let me ask you a
Go ahead,
question.
Shaka.
How do you explain the secret passage in his room leading to, oh, you going to go in?
Oh, well, it's not actually on his PowerPoint, because like I said, this is a preview to my PowerPoint presentation. I already explained this to Shaka, because Anthony Weldon was one, because George Villas was one of his bodyguards. That was one of the closest people to him, and there were 8 attempts on his life in his time. There were 8 attempts on the king's life. So that passage was a way for the king to escape in case somebody came to try to kill him. That's a fact. And I told Shaka that, and guess what? If you go back, you watch the video, before I was finished speaking, Shaka said it, because he knew where I was going, because he knew I was right. Okay, let's continue. Instead, we are given names such as Anthony Weldon, Francis Osborne, and Sir Edward Peyton. These are the names of people that said King James is a homosexual. You will always see these names in yellow, but you'll never see the names in red. Why is that? Okay? And others who had malice towards the king. This creates an unbalanced and biased view on a subject. In other words, it's called biased scholarship. Next slide. Now, this is one of the books that Shaka used. Guess what, brothers and sisters? If Shaka's an honest man, he's going to tell you. At the debate, I had this book with me. This was a book that Shaka presented in his presentation. He told us that this is a source that he used to prove that King James is a homosexual. I'm going to bet money he never even read the book. Guess what, brothers and sisters? Brother Danyaahla has the book. And I brought it to the debate and I showed it to him. I said, Shaka, you know I got this book, right? Here's what the book says. James I, the Fool as King by Otto J. Scott. Okay, concerning Esme Stewart. Remember that? Shaka said that Esme Stewart was King James's first lover. That was his first cousin. Yes. He said Esme Stewart was King James's first lover. Let's see what this says, right? There are many reasons that James was close to Esme Stewart. Question, before I continue. How many reasons did Shaka present in his presentation? 1. He presented you 1 reason. He said that King James and him had sex. That was it. But the author in the book that Shaka used, I didn't use this book. I didn't present the source. Shaka presented the source. It says there are many reasons. Question, why didn't Shaka present us many reasons? He presented us 1 reason. There are many reasons James was close to Esme Stewart. Let's go through this and let's see how many of these sources that Shaka actually told you, brothers and sisters, about. First reason, his social graces. Second reason that he was close with his cousin, his contact with the French government, which brought gold to James's aid. Did Shaka tell y'all about that? No. Why was he close with Esme Stewart? Because Esme Stewart was close with the French, and the French gave the king gold. Shaka didn't tell y'all about that, right? He just said he was a faggot. Let's keep going. And the fact that Esme was captain of the king's bodyguards. Why was the king having bodyguards? Because there were attempts made on his life over and over again. So the man that's guarding your life, you ain't going to be close to him? Come on, man. Let's be real. He goes on to say, all this is overshadowed by the fact that James disliked girls. In other words, Otto J. Scott, the source that Shaka used, disregards the fact that Esme Stewart was close with the French. Disregard the fact of the man's social graces. Disregard the fact that the man was a bodyguard to King James. He's going to look over all that and say, oh, well, King James disliked girls. Next slide. Monarchs of Scotland by Stuart J. Ross. This is from a book, right? Regarding James's affection towards Esme Stewart. This is another source that Shaka didn't bring out, but I'm bringing out. Page 113. And this sort of behavior, because Shaka spoke about the fact that James had affection towards Esme Stewart, and sometimes he would kiss his cousin on the cheek. That was his cousin, right? Were typical of James all his life, and has led to be being labeled as homosexuality. Has led to being labeled as homosexual. However, there is no concrete evidence to support the allegation that public petting was followed by intimate relations in private. This is from another book. Why didn't Shaka present this? This is the counterbalance to what he said. You have authors that are letting you know that there's really no historical evidence that shows that James was affectionate towards Esme Stewart. He was a homosexual. No references whatsoever. Page 115. James fathered 8 children, which is not bad for someone that was supposed to be a homosexual. So if James was a homosexual, why was he sleeping with his wife so much to the point where he had 8 children? How come that was not presented? Okay? Page 119. Few kings have been more unjustly maligned. The carpings of xenophobic contemporaries about his physical appearance and personal behavior have been accepted as face value. In other words, the information that's been presented by authors like Otto J. Scott has been presented at face value without the balance, the counterbalance that lets you know that this man fathered 8 children. Now, every time that you sleep with your wife, you don't get her pregnant every time you sleep with her. So in order to have 8 children, that means you sleeping with your wife all the goddamn time to have 8 children. So how the hell is this man a homosexual and he's sleeping with his woman so much he's having 8 children? How come Shaka didn't talk about that? This is about balance, man. What was presented to you brothers and sisters at home was biased scholarship. Real scholarship would have presented this and what he presented to give you brothers and sisters at home a chance to decide for yourself. But what the brother Shaka decided to do was present one side of the coin and hope you brothers and sisters fell for it, except there was your brother Danyaahla that stood around and said, oh, this brother's a goddamn liar, man. Next slide. The Royal House, a biography of the Royal Stuarts. Is another book that our brother did not present. So I'm going to present it for him, okay? Page 134 concerning his wife, James wrote this. Now remember, Otto J. Scott said that James disliked girls. He disliked girls, right? Let's read what this says. And the youngest princess was a gay, good-looking girl. Let's stop right there. The word gay is newspeak, okay? In our day and time, the word gay means homosexual. That's newspeak. If you don't know what newspeak is, learn something. Go look it up. It means that a definition has been expanded. But in the 1600s, the word gay did not mean homosexual, but actually meant happy. So it says the word and, the youngest princess was a gay or happy, good-looking girl. Barely 16. So when people were telling King James about this woman, she was 16 years old. Now we got to stop here for a second. We got to get on Kemet. I got to get on Kemet. So we got to stop here for a second. So then turn the camera around, man. Turn the camera around so the brothers and sisters can see me, right? I know y'all see that word 16 up there, right? Now, King James was a Hebrew Israelite, a black Hebrew Israelite. You see the word 16 up there. So you say, oh, my God. King James committed pedophilia. He fell in love with his wife when she was 16. Question, how old were the women in Egypt when they were getting married? Because my research has shown that the women in Egypt were 12 years old when you were marrying them. Y'all talk about GMS. But the women in Egypt were 12 years old. I got sources on that. You guys were marrying women as soon as they started their menstrual period. Because Egyptian women only lived to be what, about 34, 35 years old? So you guys were marrying girls at 12 years old, but then you talk about GMS, puke Israelites and pedophiles. But you goddamn Egyptians were marrying girls at 12 years old, but y'all ain't talking about that, right? Anyway, let's get back to the PowerPoint. Okay? Now, it says here, and the youngest princess was a happy, good-looking girl. barely 16, and the more James heard of her attractions, the more resolute he became to marry her. This doesn't sound like what Otto J. Scott spoke about, who is Shaka's reference. He said the more he heard about her beauty is the more resolute he became to marry her. He met Anne and fell in love with the reality that did not disappoint his imagination, meaning everything he heard about her beauty, when he saw her, she lived up to that beauty. That don't sound like a faggot to me. Right. Keep reading on. Right. Their affection, moreover, was no brief transient emotion, but endured as a kindly intimacy, if no more than that, until 7 children were born. So you have some scholars that say that he had 7 children. You have some scholars that say he had 8 children. My point is, if you have 7 or 8 children, you know how often you sleeping with your woman? That's right. You know how frequently you sleeping with your woman? And this is a man that you guys are saying was a homosexual. Why was this information not presented by Shaka? Sure. Next slide. James I by Christopher Durston, okay? Now we're going to get into one of the sources that our brother Shaka brought out, right? Otto J. Scott's book, which is endorsed by the National Catholic Reporter. We got to stop right there. I got to talk about that. Now, we know that King James, in the introduction to the Bible, he spoke about the Roman Catholic Church, how the Pope was against him. The Pope was always against the king. If you don't know history, then I got bad news for you. The Pope was always against the king. This book, which Shaka used as a reference, is endorsed by the Catholic Church. That means that reference that Shaka used is garbage. Because the Roman Catholic Church endorses the book that Shaka used. And guess what? King James was enemies with the Roman Catholic Church his whole life. Let's read the source. Otto J. Scott's book, which is endorsed by the National Catholic Reporter, and which Shaka references, relies heavily on David H. Wilson's book, James VI and I. Okay? David H. Wilson's book relies on the testimony of 2 of King James's biggest enemies, Anthony Weldon and Francis Osborne. I got to stop again. I got to drop it on y'all. You got to pay attention. Stay with Danyaahla. Stay with brother Danyaahla. See, I know y'all brothers say, you Hebrew Israelites that come out of One West, you don't know no history, then you don't know me. That's right. You don't know me. That's right. I know history. That's the point. Okay? Let's read that again. Wilson's book, James VI and I, by David H. Wilson, relies on the testimony of 2 of King James's biggest enemies, Anthony Weldon and Francis Osborne. I got to stop. Let's run down the list. You have Anthony Weldon and Francis Osborne, both of whom were kicked out of the king's court by King James. You have an author by the name of David H. Wilson that writes a book, and he bases his findings of King James being a homosexual on 2 of King James's biggest enemies. From that book, you get Otto J. Scott's book, who relies on a man who relied on King James's enemies. And from that, you get Shaka's presentation. And you brothers and sisters are at home running along with that like that was true. That it was garbage, man. Let's go to page 3 of this book by Christopher Durston. The king's reputation reached a nadir in 1956 with the publication of D.H. Wilson's King James VI and I. Now check this out, right? Speaking about the author. He thoroughly disliked and disapproved of King James. In other words, the author that wrote this book, he didn't like King James to begin with. So when he went and did his research, he went to guys that didn't like King James. And all these books that you're reading about, that you're quoting, are based on people that didn't like the king to begin with. And you talking about you used all the sources and your history is factual? Get the hell out of here, man. Let's keep going. It says, only during the last 25 years that historians have belatedly begun to emancipate themselves, meaning free themselves. Historians have begun to free themselves from Weldon and present a more balanced picture of James. What does it mean by a more balanced picture? Meaning that they stopped listening to authors that are basing their books on Anthony Weldon because they realized that Anthony Weldon got his behind kicked out of the king's court. That's why he wrote that King James was a homosexual. And you being a scholar in 2015 are bringing out information that comes from a damn Anthony Weldon talking about you used all that scholarship. Get the hell out of here, man. Next slide. Sir Anthony Weldon is the main source main source, not the rap group, but the main source of the homosexual allegations against King James. I don't care where you get it from. I don't care if you read a book called Homosexuals in History. All that stuff is garbage. It all goes back to Anthony Weldon or Francis Osborne or Edward Payton. Sir Anthony Weldon is the main source of the homosexual allegations against King James. But what do contemporaries, meaning people that lived during the time, have to say about Anthony Weldon? That you want to read a book by Otto Scott. You want to read a book that relies on Otto Scott. What do historians say about that clown? Sir Anthony Weldon, a well-known racist of his time who hated Scots, which King James was a Scot, and King James, right? It says Anthony Weldon wrote a book full of racist insults towards Scotland. The name of the book is called The Court and Character of King James, which was written after King James and his son were assassinated. Next slide. 1650, a curious date. It says the book, The Court and Character of King James, which was written by Anthony Weldon, a well-known racist and an enemy to King James. The book, The Court and the Character of King James, was published in the year 1650. That's a very important date, brothers and sisters. 1650 was 1 year after King James's son, Charles I, was tried and executed in 1649. Let me explain. In other words, what this is saying is that Anthony Weldon was a goddamn faggot. What does that mean? Meaning that he waited for King James to be dead. And he waited for King James's son, Charles I, to be dead. And once these guys were dead and there was no more threat of him being put to death for libel or lying, then he said in 50. Sorry about that.
Good.
I waste you. You got it?
No, I can't see over there.
Come over here so you can see.
No, good.
I can see it better here. Right. So I'm going to read this again. Right. In the year 1650, a curious date, the book, The Court and Character of King James, was published in the year 1650, 1 year after King James's son, Charles I, was tried and executed. That was some faggot shit. In other words, Anthony Weldon, the homosexual faggot, scaredy cat, lying idiot that he was, waited until King James was already dead. He waited until King James's son was already dead. And at that point, he wrote a book called The Court and Character of King James and said, oh, by the way, he was a homosexual. But wait until he was dead. Animosity against the monarchy was at a fever pitch. There was great disillusionment with the monarchical form of government to the point of murdering the lawful king. Next slide.
I'm going to tell you something, Brother Danyaahla. You know what would go good with that slide right there, what you talked about? They waited till he was dead. What would go good with this is you should have put Malcolm there, Malcolm X, because they waited till Malcolm died to say he was a homosexual. So check this out.
Yes, sir.
100 years later on, people going to be talking about Malcolm X was gay. You see what I'm saying? So
That's a beautiful point, Senator. I'm gonna take it a step further. Not only are they saying Malcolm X was gay, you have certain people that are teaching that Malcolm X was a goddamn CIA agent. He was working with the government and all that. But they wasn't saying that when Malcolm was alive. They say the same thing about Khalid Muhammad. All of a sudden, man, he was an agent. He was this. He was that. But they wasn't saying that when the man was alive. This is what happens. Next slide. Let's keep going. All right. This is a book called James I by his contemporaries, by Robert Ashton. You know what contemporaries mean? Meaning that people that were living during the same time as King James. The same time. Let's see if they were saying he was homosexual, right? This is page 20. Entertaining though they may be, the treatises of writers such as Sir Anthony Weldon and Francis Osborne are characterized chiefly by the author's spiteful and indiscriminate animus against the king. They are represented here not because of their value as accurate accounts, which is negligible. In other words, the author of this book is saying the reason why he even mentioned Anthony Weldon was because Anthony Weldon made the accusation, but they're not represented in his book as accurate accounts because everything that Anthony Weldon said was not accurate. In other words, you have a lot of scholars, as I'm showing, that's giving information that's saying the information that was put out about King James is a lie. But again, our brother Shaka made a presentation and he told you, he gave you
all the information. So where's all this information I'm putting up? Was that in his presentation? Go back and watch it and answer that question. Was this in Shaka's presentation? Next slide.
Brother Tazoriak just texted in and said, "You killing that shit on."
Let's go. Let's go. That's my brother, man. Big up to the Captain Tazariak, right? We have another book right here called Britain's Solomon, James I and his Six and his Three Kingdoms by Maurice Lee Jr., page 309 to page 910. This is what this author said. Historians can and should ignore the venomous caricature of the king's person and behavior drawn by Anthony Weldon. Let's stop and let's do a recap again. You had an author by the name of David H. Wilson. From David H. Wilson, we get the author Otto J. Scott, which our brother Shaka quoted. But David H. Wilson's work was based on the work of Anthony Weldon, meaning it was biased. So when Shaka did his presentation, he should have did a little more research. If he did a little more research, he'd have been like, you know what? I'm going to leave this book out. Because this author's book is based on another author who went to biased scholars to get his scholarship. I don't remember seeing this in Shaka's presentation. If I'm wrong, y'all brothers and sisters, please tell me at what point, give me the minute point, give me the timestamp when Shaka brought this information out. Next slide. Okay? This is a book by James I by Christopher Durston, another author. Okay, page 2. It says, this poisonous piece of literary revenge. So in other words, what Anthony Weldon wrote was revenge against the king. Why is that? Now I'm going to give you brothers and sisters some history, right? You had Anthony Weldon that was a member of the king's court. He was also known as the clerk of the green cloth. All right? Anthony Weldon was kicked out of the king's court by King James for writing that book, The Court and Character of King James. He was kicked out of court. So when he was kicked out of court, that's when he decided, after King James was dead, after King James's son was dead, that's when he decided to write the book, The Court and Character of King James. It was revenge against the king because he was mad about the way that he was kicked out of court. So this is what this author says. Tell me if you saw this in Shaka's presentation. It says page 2. This poisonous piece of literary revenge was to do profound and lasting damage to James's reputation, as it became the prime source. Let me say that again. It became the prime source. Let me say that one more time. It became the prime source from many subsequent historical assessments, meaning that a lot of scholars, when they wrote about King James being a homosexual, they based it on this garbage that was written out of revenge by somebody that got their behind kicked out of court, whose authors failed to make sufficient allowances for the obvious bias of the people that wrote those pieces about King James being homosexual. Obvious bias. Damn it! I don't remember seeing that in Shaka's presentation. Next slide, man.
You killing them, Ak, you killing them.
Now, I don't know about that yet, man. This is only 20 slides, man. I got 100. Listen, I got 100 slides. It's only 20. This is only 20. This is only 20. All right?
Say that one more time.
More contemporaries and historians speak. Peter Heinlein. I mentioned this guy before. This is somebody that lived during the time of King James. In his book, Examen Historicum, he dismisses Anthony Weldon's work as infamous libel. Anthony Weldon's work was quoted by David H. Wilson, which is quoted by Otto J. Scott, which is quoted by Shaka Amos, which means it's garbage. Okay, next one. The Dictionary of National Biography. I'm giving y'all sources. Everybody's like at home like, where's your sources? The source is in red. Read. The Dictionary of National Biography characterizes Weldon's book as a collection of slanderous gossip about the two kings. What two kings? James and his son, and their ministers and their favorites. I'm going to tell you something. It's ain't in this presentation, but every king of England and Scotland and Ireland and Germany and everywhere else had their favorites, meaning people that they was close to. It had nothing to do with being a homosexual. Stop it. Next slide. They're going to keep going. Sir William Sanderson refutes Weldon in his Aulicus Concanari and his complete histories of the lives and reigns of Mary Queen of Scots and her son James I. Bishop Godfrey Goodman stated, I have never, and again, Bishop Godfrey Goodman is somebody that lived during the time of King James. He was a contemporary. So if you're presenting stuff that people during James's time was whispering that he was a homosexual, I hear you, Shaka, but people during James's time was also saying he was not a homosexual. Where was this in your presentation? Bishop Godfrey Goodman stated, I have never read a more malicious-minded author, nor any who has such poor and mean observations. Get out of here. Next slide, man. We ain't got to talk much. Next slide. Sir Edward Peyton, another of James's enemies, another person upon whom modern-day scholars base their homosexual allegations on. This is Sir Edward Peyton, was recommended for removal from court by George Villiers. We got to stop right there, because George Villiers is somebody that Shaka accused King James of being lovers with. But now we're seeing something very heavy right here. Edward Peyton was recommended for removal from the king's court by George Villiers. In other words, George Villiers said, James, we got to get this guy out of here. So what do you think Edward Peyton did? He was mad about that. So later on, he came with some garbage talking about George Villiers being a homosexual. That's where that allegation comes from. How come Shaka didn't mention this? Let me stop. Let me keep reading. After this disgrace, Peyton was an avid enemy of Villiers and the whole court. In other words, Peyton didn't just like Villiers, but he disliked the whole court, which includes the king. He sided with Parliament in the English Civil War against Charles I, who was James's son. In the year 1652, he wrote The Divine Catastrophe of the Stuarts. This work was denounced at the time. When he made the allegations of the king being a homosexual, this work was denounced by Sir Anthony Wood in his book Athenae Oxenenius as a most despicable, libelous book full of lies, mistakes, and nonsense. This work was reprinted in the year 1752 by William Bowyer Jr. and Charles Davis, which were taken into custody by the House of Commons on the charge of publishing seditious slander. So when you quote somebody that's quoting Edward Peyton, that's seditious slander. But you presented all the facts. I don't remember seeing this, and I watched the whole video. Man, damn it, I watched it 5 times. I watched the damn video 5 times. Because I had to put timestamps on everything that Shaka said, because I said I'm going to cut him on that. I'm going to cut him on that. I'm going to cut him on that. And I'm going to cut him on that. Next slide. Stop. Get the hell out of here, man. Is that it? All right. The rest of the presentation, y'all brothers and sisters, y'all going to get that, man. We about to do a presentation, man. I'm going to go into George Villiers. I'm going to go into Robert Carr, because Shaka mentioned all of them. I'm going to go into all that. But that's just showing you, that's just a preview to show you, brothers and sisters, that the brother didn't present everything, man. That was biased scholarship.
And I beheld heaven open, and behold the white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. We are at war.
From 100. God had his hand on me since before the womb. I didn't know what that meant until I read the Bible. I didn't know what that meant until I read the Bible. He had his hand on me since before the womb. You think I started in the womb? He had his hand on me since before the womb. Like, oh, this is going to do this. He's going to make this happen. You're going to touch this person. You're going to touch these people. You're going to... Yo. I am God's child. I am God's child. I am God's child. Yeah.
Describe myself as cold with a conscience. Can't roll with the nonsense. Don't mistake the cover of the book for its contents. I might show you kindness, swim with the piranhas. Things that we forget tend to come back and remind us. Like we all have a past we wanna put behind us. Designed to be good, but evil always seems to find us. A man can only change the things he acknowledges. Plus this beat is flame with skills over politics. Won't be the same. What really has me stressing out? The gyms are closed, so I can't get this aggression out. Before we get the promises, there must be offenses. The Bill Gates of hell won't prevail against us. They don't really want, but we speak it to them. They don't really want, but we teach it to them. They don't really want, but we give it to them. We got the whole package, baby. They don't really want, but we speak it to them. They don't really want, but we teach it to them. They don't really want, but we give it to them. We got the whole package, baby. Say my prayers. Thank God for blessing me. My life's an open book. Could that be why they're testing me? Maybe everything I do is done out of necessity. Stock is on the rise. I think you should invest in me. It's not strange. I'm money like blockchains. Except the things in life that I cannot change. Chant down Babylon. Payback is coming. I ain't LeBron James. You thought I came back for nothing? The game is canceled in the blink of an eyelash. Flow is sick. Grab your N95 mask. The new normal, it gets even scarier. All black and white, there is no gray area. Plain as day, we got the whole package, baby. Competition, their rhymes are all average. And that's my 16, nothing else to say, y'all. 5G raps, find me under the radar. They don't really want, but we speak it to them. They don't really want, but we teach it to them. They don't really want, but we give it to them. We got the whole package, baby. They don't really want, but we speak it to them. They don't really want, but we teach it to them. They don't really want, but we give it to them. We got the whole package, baby. Bounce. The gyms are closed. I gotta get this aggression out. Let's go. I'm from the city, they say never sleep. People you can never please. Words of blue checks that Twitter gives celebrities. Sometimes it's commercial, sometimes herbal remedies. Guaranteed to be 100 like centipedes. I claim my innocence, although innocence. I ain't perfect, I'm trying to cleanse my innocence. Not alone, I'm assisted by some instruments. And when I'm done, I'm on to doing bigger things. No holes barred, take no prisoners. Aim for the sky, potential is limitless. Before we get the promises, there must be offenses.